Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Grace Holland. This afternoon, a former Raleigh police officer is expected to appear in court to face charges that while on duty, he did not investigate a DUI crash in exchange for sexual favors. The Raleigh Police Department and the State Bureau of Investigation announced Friday charges against Tremale Cogdell stemming from an incident last month. WRAL's Shaun Gallagher joins me now. Shaun, thank you for being here.
Yeah, of course.
So you were at this press conference on Friday when we first learned of all of this. So what happened here, according to RPD Chief Rico Boyce?
Yeah, so Chief Boyce said a little over 3 weeks ago, Tremale Cogdell went to the scene of an early morning crash.
After completing a call for service, Mr. Cogdell drove the victim back to his personal residence in his City of Raleigh police vehicle, and a sexual encounter occurred while Mr. Cogdell was on duty.
But instead of investigating a DWI, he's accused of accepting a sexual favor from a woman who was involved in that crash instead.
That's really shocking details to hear all of that.
Right.
What do we know about Tremale Cogdell, his history, his time as a Raleigh police officer?
Yeah, so he's been with the department for a little over 3 years. He started in June of 2022, and there are online court records that we can search to see cases that he was involved with, and I counted nearly 60. Almost all of them are traffic violations of some sort, whether it's expired tags, somebody that doesn't have a license, things like that. But at this point, there's a question about whether or not the state can even move forward on these cases, because right now, his integrity is being called into question.
With the other cases he may have been involved with during his 3 years, what will happen with them? Can we trust the integrity of the other cases he was involved in?
Everything right now involving that officer is under review now with the Wake County District Attorney's Office, as well as the Raleigh Police Department Internal Affairs Unit.
I did contact District Attorney Lauren Freeman about that. She says they will review all of the cases that he was a part of, but because there could be other officers or other witnesses that were involved in those cases, they may be able to move forward on some of them, but at this point, that's all up in the air.
How exactly did this investigation begin?
Well, Chief Boyce says this woman came forward and informed the State Bureau of Investigation about it, and Chief Boyce applauded her courageousness in doing so, but now the department will continue to investigate to see if this ever happened before.
Let's take a quick break right there, and we'll be right back. Shaun, before the break, you were walking us through the sequence of events that investigators believe happened here with this police officer, Tremale Cogdell, when he was with Raleigh Police. This happened just about a month ago. And, of course, he was fired from the department on Friday. What have we heard from the victim and her attorney?
Yeah, so he paints a pretty scary picture about this, that it may not have been the only time that this happened. They gave us a quote saying, there's nothing scarier than a sexual predator with a badge. He clearly would have done this again if not for the courageousness of our client, who's a strong, brave young woman, and we would not be surprised if he has committed this brazen misconduct in the past. Now, you have to take that with a grain of salt. He is the victim's attorney here, so it is his job to defend her, but, he's got a good point. This is something that even RPD says they're going to continue investigating to see if there are any other victims that want to come forward. Both the State Bureau of Investigation and RPD are encouraging anybody, if you recognize Cogdell from the photos you may see online or just recognize his name, to reach out to them because they want to hear it so that they can continue this investigation. They don't just want to stop with one if there's more.
Right. And of course, at this point, the current charges are moving ahead, and we understand that he is expected to appear in court this afternoon. What do we expect to play out at this hearing?
So it is just an initial appearance. So typically those go pretty quickly. They kind of read the charges and they move on. But sometimes we do get a little bit more information about exactly what happened. So we may even hear from his attorney in this case about what he experienced, and this woman, offering a sexual favor in exchange of ignoring the potential DWI investigation. But a lot more information can come out, but we do know he's still being held in jail as of Friday afternoon on a $30,000 bond. So we'll get to see if he can post that or not.
And, you've alluded to the fact that this is something that is still being investigated, that this could have implications for the other cases that Cogdell was involved in. Where does this leave the Raleigh Police Department when it comes to the integrity of their investigations?
Yeah, it's a big thing for Chief Rico Boyce. This is clearly a fracture to the foundation of integrity that he has been so focused on building back up, that kind of police-community relations. They're so important to him.
I'm disturbed about this. It bothers me. As a member of this community, as the chief, it's not easy for me to stand up here and say that I arrested one of my officers. But when I was selected as chief, I promised this community that I was going to be transparent and I was going to hold people accountable no matter who they are. I hope today reflects that I'm keeping my word and making sure that we're transparent as a department and that I'm going to hold each and every officer and professional staff accountable for their behaviors here at the Raleigh Police Department.
I mean, when you heard what he had to say on Friday, he had a lot of strong words about Cogdell and this whole situation. He acknowledged the community will see this as a poor reflection of the department, and people will, rightly question their integrity, but he hopes people see how swiftly they worked throughout this case to hold Cogdell accountable. Here's a timeline of what happened. That initial incident happened on September 12th. The State Bureau of Investigation then notified RPD about it on September 26th. That day, immediately, Chief Rico Boyce says Cogdell was immediately suspended. And then Friday, October 3rd, that's when charges were filed, and that day is when he was fired. And a little caveat to that, that was 3 weeks to the day of that initial incident. And if you know anything about, investigations, even the court system, things don't move that quickly. So 3 weeks, pretty remarkably fast.
Keep on top of these developments, and we appreciate your reporting, Shaun. Thank you. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download and for making us part of your morning routine. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. That's a daily email with Triangle news, events, and headlines to help you get ready for the day. You can sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.